Coach, this past week took a couple of losses in Port Townsend and Canyon. Just talk about the biggest takeaways from what you saw from your team this past week.
The first thing is we got to make sure that we come in to the opponent's gym ready to play. It all goes back to being prepared for those games. Coach Patel and I are in a hard stretch here at the end, and things unfortunately don't get any easier for us. And it just comes down to the toughest, smartest, strongest teams are going to win at this point. We're all sick, we're all hurt, we're all beat up. Everybody is that way, but you've got to be tough enough mentally and physically to get through those games and beat them. The medal or the championship or whatever doesn't go to the team that's feeling the best. It goes to the team that does what it takes to win. And that was a main message that we sent our team after these games. It's never easy. It doesn't feel good. Those players, I can tell you right now, are not feeling good right now because they sacrifice a lot of their time and energy and bodies to win games like that. We just fell short and didn't quite do what we needed to in order to get those wins.
This is not unfamiliar territory for you. You've had other occasions this season where you lost 2 more games in a row. What adjustments were made back then where you're able to come back and win multiple games in a row? What changes can we expect to see this week?
Yeah, we got to regroup. Those games are over now. There's no need to sit here and worry about those. I do think that there's got to be lessons to be learned in both of them. What are we going to do today to fix the problems that we had in those past games? And the players have to move on. I mean, I've said this whole time, great players have short memories, and that goes for shooting the ball, and then that also goes for just mistakes being made on the court. Today we've got to come back. We've got huge games this weekend against Lubbock Christian and Midwestern, and they're going to be ready for us. It's a rivalry. We have a lot of players from those areas, and so I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of fans there at the games. And I do think if I know our team well enough, they're going to be ready to go, and they're going to bounce back. And like I said, we're going to spend a lot of time today looking at the mistakes that we made and trying to fix them.
So your final 2 road games of the season, your second half of this 4-game road trip, what must be done to close these 2 games and finish the road trip on a high note?
We got to be prepared. I think it all goes back to preparation. Preparation leads to confidence, and we've got to be as confident as we can going into those games, which is difficult after 2 losses. And so we just want to go back to what we do best in these next couple of practices and making sure that each player knows their strengths and how it pertains to the team and what we need from each player. And that goes from 1 to 15. We got 15 players, and in games like this coming up, we're going to need all 15. Especially, I don't know who's going to get in foul trouble. I don't know any of that, but they've all got to be prepared, and they've got to be mature enough to be prepared for those. It started the minute that game ended. The last game, the preparation for this next one starts, and we can't get to Lubbock and start trying to get ready for that game, or it's too late at that point. And so I think just knowing the game scouts and knowing what we want to do defensively with our defense, and making sure we know what's going to work offensively against these guys, and then going, not only that, but actually doing it. Right? I think if you gave our players a test, they'd pass it with flying colors, but actually getting out on the court and doing it is a different story, and that's what's got to happen this weekend. Almost have to be flawless to get these next 5 games.
You basically touched on my next question. What gives you full confidence you can go in there and beat a 16-1 team in conference? What do you think, or what would you say is your biggest advantage to beat the best team in the conference?
I think our players' heart is our best advantage. They are all very competitive. They're familiar with the territory. They have a chip on their shoulder now, and I think that's what we're going to ride with. Got to be passionate going into those games and just have a lot of heart. And I know that may sound repetitive a lot, but you can't coach that part. And hard work beats talent. Hard work is what's going to keep you in games that you shouldn't be in. And I know that our players know that these are going to be tough games coming up, but it all depends on how they approach them. If you're beat before you get on the court, we might as well just stay at home. And I don't think that that's the team that we have this year. They're all want to win, and we're going to do what it takes to get it done.
Coach, actively you sit second in the West Division, fourth overall in conference. The season ends today. You would have the 4 seed in the postseason tournament. What's your message to the girls, maybe this week, maybe in the future, to be able to finish these 5 games strong to solidify that 4th seed, or maybe even try to push the pressure on the higher seeds?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with we've got to take one game at a time. And I think it's very overwhelming for players to, and even myself, to think, oh my gosh, well, if we go 3 for 5, blah, 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 and start looking at it that way. And so I think each day we've got to, number one, fix the problems that we have and in order to win big games. And we've got to win those days. And not only on the court, but we've got to win in the weight room, and we've got to win in the classroom. And I think that just develops a winning mentality everywhere. And you have to walk into each one of these teams' gyms acting like you own it. And that goes for every player. If you don't walk in with that kind of confidence, yeah, they're going to be hard to beat. If you leave somebody open, they're going to probably shoot it and score because it's their home floor, and they're college athletes. They're great. You've got to be there when they catch. It comes down to small little details and focusing on that each day. And then if they will develop that kind of discipline and winning mentality, I think, from game to game, we win those games. And I fully expect God's going to put us right where we need to be at the end of the season, and I have to rely on that or it would drive me crazy. I would not sleep at all.
And then looking at your Thursday match, of course, already mentioned Lubbock Christian at Lubbock Christian. Last time you faced the Lady Shabs, 39 points were dropped on you by Grace Foster.
Yes.
And you mentioned in the following press conference that she got hot. She made the first shot, she just kept making shots. What's kind of your game plan for the team this week to be able to maybe try to limit that first shot being made later in the game instead of early on and letting her get hot?
Right, I have a ton of respect for Grace. I've seen her play since she was a little girl, and I've always seen her go off on people. And she's an All-American, and that is a lesson that our team has to learn. If you let a player like her see one fall, you're in for a long night. And that's something that we're focused on. We may switch up our matchup a little bit and how we guarded her the last time. The main problem is transition. You can't have the same person guarding the same people in transition just because of the situation that happened on the other side of the floor. And so what they've got to learn is you got to find her. She's a trailer, so sometimes we run to the paint without actually finding a body, and they have to find her in transition. If she sees one go, it's going to be, she's a great player. It's going to be a long night. We're going to have to, it's not unstoppable. It's just, we're going to have to play really, really hard defense. Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.